Hey, Emily.
Hello.
How are you?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm doing all right. How are things going?
Good. You are looking at my home studio.
Nice, nice.
Yeah,
My hold on, my audio isn't. I've got this, sports broadcaster thing plugged in.
it's
Uh,
awesome. This guy. So he's been a little bit rough today. He comes, but normally he's pretty dependable. So if you want, I can actually, if the audio is quite bad, let me try to unplug this, and I could just speak to my computer. So.
well, you sound okay to me right now. Let me just see if I can make some super ghetto modifications, because anyway, the whole thing is ghetto. I've got
Well,
my computer currently on 2 yoga blocks. And the plugin for this thing is like enormous, and if it hangs, it doesn't connect that well. So I'm gonna see if I can prop it up a little bit and give it some support, and then maybe I'll be able to hear you a little
I'm
bit.
on the candle duct tape for cell phone crew.
Nice,
Yeah,
nice.
and I
That's
had duct tape.
amazingly ghetto.
It's so great. Well, for my daily, my 12 p.m. broadcast, every day I do a free class.
Uh-huh.
Uh, that's on. I have this computer and then 2 cell phones,
Uh-huh.
and I have another computer. I just don't know where else to broadcast on. Like, what should be my final social media? I'm thinking I should film for YouTube. That's really how I ought to use that last computer.
My recommendation would be film for everything and all the things possible.
Yeah,
Just put it
yeah,
everywhere. Not gonna
yeah.
hurt.
That's kind of what I'm thinking. And YouTube, I'm not verified, so it's just the irritation of having to go load the video after.
Oh yeah.
Um, but I might as well make use of all these electronics.
Might as well get some practice in while we have the opportunity to practice all this crazy stuff, huh?
No, I know things are going to change forever after this too.
Oh
It's
yeah,
really exciting. I'm really excited about it, to be
I
honest with
am actually as well. I just did a big satsang live for my peeps and was talking about the fact that, we have to mourn the loss of the old normal, but, do we really want that back?
you. Yeah,
There are definitely things in that old normal that actually weren't normal at all, and probably honestly not working for us. So we got to check out those silver linings and lean into them a bit.
that's totally true. And that's the number one thing that I've heard from so many fitness instructors who've come to me after,
It's okay.
Group Fitness Instructors United, when I started reaching out to them for
Yep.
this union that I'm creating. I just had one person reach out to me yesterday, and she just said so eloquently, that it's been really scary and really nerve wracking, but all of a sudden she's making more money directly from her clients teaching online classes. I know a lot of people are realizing what people like you and Fitness Blender have been doing for a really long time.
I
And
love
there's
this. This
that
is
cute
such
little
great
girl in
news.
Bali. What's that Bali? I love that little Bali girl. There's a few online things that I have been following all these years, mostly because I was traveling a lot,
Yeah.
um, and because I was writing my book. And I did
Where
it.
where are you now?
I'm in Seattle.
You're
I'm
in
in the heart.
Seattle.
Yeah.
Well, I'm in the other heart of it in New York City.
I know. My little sister's there. She's with her partner. They're in Brooklyn at her part. She's
Yeah.
21, so they're staying with her partner's family in Brooklyn,
Wow.
in the heart of the Orthodox Jewish area. So
Oh boy. Oh, that's a tough area right now.
of all places
It's
for her,
it's like wildfire right now there.
you know,
Yeah.
it's okay. My parents rushed back from Spain. They were in Spain. We've had all of the places. So yeah,
You really
literally, like,
have. Yeah, you're
yeah.
ticking all those boxes.
I know, we got every one of them. We got every one of the hot zones.
So
Uh,
before we sort of formally start, although frankly I love the conversation we've had already, which I'd love to fold in the success of your friend that you're noticing back into our talk. Number
yes.
one, this is recording. We're already recording. I'm going to edit it a little bit and add my own introduction of you before posting it. I'm going to post it everywhere. certainly on YouTube. I'll probably put it out as a podcast as well. Do you want to right now go live on Facebook with this conversation, or do
Sure.
you not want that pressure? It's up to you.
Yeah, that's fine with me. My only concern is I just have 12 p.m. live of my
Oh yeah,
own.
for sure.
So, but it was a half hour, so yeah. But
Yeah,
yeah, I'm live.
we'll aim for 30 minutes. I mean, we're running a little bit behind, but if we can go to, I guess it would be 12:40 or 12:45 your time, would that be all right?
Oh, I can go all the way up to like 12:50 if
Oh,
I.
okay.
Or
All
sorry,
right.
11:50. It's 11:50.
I
But
don't even
whatever.
know what time it is right now.
I know you're 3 hours. It's okay. I know it doesn't matter.
I don't even, what is time, Emily?
I know it's not what we thought it was. That's
It
for
is
sure.
not at all. Okay, so give me just a minute. It takes me like,
Okay.
it's a process. So, and let me see if
Yeah.
I can get her done. And I will let you know, obviously, before we're officially live.
Okay. There we go.
Okay, I think it's ready. Are you ready?
Awesome. I'm ready.
All right.
Oh, I see it.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I can see. Yeah, I can see the live on Facebook. That's nice for the
Awesome.
entertainment.
Good. Okay. Well, Emily, I am super excited to chat with you today. We have a lot on our plate to talk about. I know that the things that we talk about today are very much on the minds of our fellow yoga teachers, our colleagues, our fellow spiritual leaders at this time. But first, I want to take it back a little bit, if you don't mind, Emily. Who are you? Where did you get your start? How did you come here to be talking with me today on this broadcast?
Well, I should start by saying I've been taking your classes since probably, I mean, I don't really know when the first date was,
Since the dawn of
but
time?
I seriously think it was about 2007. I believe
Yeah.
it was probably about
Wow.
2006, 2007 when I took one of your classes in downtown Denver.
Oh my gosh.
Studio. It might have been Samadhi or
That sounds
maybe,
about right.
yeah, I think I took one of your classes at Samadhi. This is great.
Wow. Cool.
And you were one of those first instructors that made me really think about what was happening up there. You know, it was the first time that I kind of stepped out of my own experience in my yoga, and I thought, like, this is an orchestrated practice given to
There's
me
more
by a
to it. Yeah.
professional. Yeah, that's interesting. Like, I wonder what that looks like. That thing, and I think this is all that person does. You know,
Mhm.
I don't know, but I can. There was a ambience to you, and I can name the instructors to this day who I remember, who created in me that idea of professionalism in this
Yeah.
career. And yeah, they're still around. I still talk to them.
Awesome.
You were though. So that was when I was in college. I left college and I worked for corporate America, whatever. And when I was in college, I also lived in India and I practiced yoga every day, but I was studying there. And I've just been doing yoga since I was 15 as well. I
Nice.
did the first time in a community fitness center in my suburban area because my mom was like, get out of the house,
I love that. I love that. Yeah.
class and a yoga class. I had no idea what it was about, and that always just stayed with me. I started doing workout videos at home when I was like 17. I would just like
Sweet.
pick up for my mom and do them in my room when I needed a break from homework, and I was doing this stuff very organically. I
Yeah.
wasn't thinking about it. Fast forward, I had been living in England. This was in 2014, I think. And I was living in England and I was writing my book. I started a travel writing company. And then we wrote books with it. And I couldn't find a yoga class I liked. And I really respected these instructors. I was taking workshops even and going to retreats. And I just didn't really like the style. But, I really loved the professional. I really
Hmm.
loved watching them host an event.
Right.
And I just, without a certificate, I just went into my nearest gym. I said, "Can I teach yoga here?" And
Oh,
they're like, "Sure,
wow.
come back
Nice.
at 8 on Tuesday." I
Oh
was
my
like,
God.
I had 45 people in my class. I had a
No
mic.
way.
It wasn't a full studio. It was a loft
Uh-huh.
space. They each put 2 pound in a glass jar, and I walked with 105 pounds. They
Wow.
put more than that in. They
Wow.
thought yoga was a religion,
Yep.
and they thought that, and they couldn't bend over. Like there was no motion.
You
And
helped to change their minds, I'm
I
sure.
was hooked. I was hooked. I was
Yeah.
hooked. So right after that, I taught for like maybe a year and a half, and
Uh-huh.
then I couldn't answer their questions,
Sure.
and I started going to try to find some more details about how I could certify, and I started with my instructors that I liked the most to see what was on their website. Like if
Yeah.
they had any preferences,
Yeah.
you had yours and you had the yoga download thing. And I was
Yeah.
like, I had no money. And to this day, it was the most difficult, valuable program I've ever undertaken
Oh.
in my education career. And I reference it and I'm still not done with it.
What,
I
girl?
do have a video to send you at some point.
Oh man, we are going to get on you for that. But it has been such a pleasure to be a part of your journey and to watch you grow. And you've done some extraordinary things in the time that I've known you and that you've been in this program. I mean, you've written for my blog, you've lived in Malta, you've done retreats, you've made quite the career out of being a yoga professional, as you say. And I like that you're framing it as a professional because we are. And I think many people don't think of themselves as professionals, as business people. And boy, what a rift.
Well, that's why I started. That's exactly it. So thank you for keeping me focused.
Yeah.
So um, January this year, New Year's Eve, I'm like, I bought a van. I'm ready to leave group fitness completely. I'm now teaching, and I went to Malta and then Seattle, and I'm teaching in Seattle full time. That
Wow.
means I'm extreme, but that means sometimes 40 classes a week, 40 classes
Wow.
actually in person. And I had 20 W-2s, 1099s, and self-employed tax stuff. I can show you my tax file. It's great. It's
That
really
is
exciting.
such a shake my head moment.
So,
I have been there, and Emily,
yeah,
like it's painful to hear
yeah,
you talk about
we
that.
don't realize, we don't realize it because
No,
we don't realize we're professionals. We don't realize we're being treated like machines. We don't realize
no,
we're underpaid, over
yeah,
hustling. I bought a van. I was going to go. I was ready. I have a wonderful husband. I was like, baby, I'm going to be gone 6 months. Like I got it. I got to go. And I overheard him talking to his brother who was
uh-huh.
at our house. And he said, yeah, it's just because she's not teaching as much yoga. She's teaching too much. She barely gets paid anything and she doesn't get paid any benefits. I think she's just worn out. She should start a union or something. And I was like,
A
what?
what? A what? Emily, what? Tell me more.
And I just went shriek and like just went straight for this. And
Yeah.
by February, I was talking to the AFL CIO. By late February, they had hooked me up with the
Wow.
machinists in
Uh-huh.
Seattle. And now on this day, I'm building up a leadership committee and we're getting the bylaws for the union. I'm
Oh
sending
my
out COVID
gosh.
help sheets. We have the website. And we're trying to start a union for group fitness instructors.
This is
And
amazing.
we're lobbying for some 3 specific things to start with. And from there, we're going to scale it. But it's a union like never before.
So I have a million things to say about this. The first
I'm
one I want
ready.
to say is a candid and frank congratulations.
you know, you started it. You started it.
And
It's
the
your
second
fault.
thing, I mean, I want to dig into this more deeply, right? That's why we're here, because I don't know if I started it, Emily, but this has absolutely been on my radar for so long that you were saying that your husband was talking to his brother and how overworked you are. People don't know how hard it is to be a career yoga teacher. I think the luster and the myth of yoga is that we're all just running around blissfully happy and we can't wait to do this and to quote serve by teaching. And money is just secondary, and oh, maybe we'll meditate enough and the money that we need will come. None of
Right.
that is true, and people don't recognize the day in, day out struggle, the level of burnout we reach, how hard we push our bodies as yoga teachers, how many miles we put on our car. I mean, when I was living in Colorado, I was teaching all over the Front Range. I put so many miles on my car. I ate at least 2 meals a day in my car, and I still couldn't make my rent every month. I mean, I very much lived it was such a struggle. I was always paycheck to paycheck. If I wasn't overdrawn, I had so much debt. I had to file for bankruptcy.
I
Um,
know.
the first year I lived in New York City, my tax return says I made $12,000 in New York City. And I was working at the largest yoga studio in New York City at the time. I mean, it's astonishing, right? And I think that this is something that we don't talk about very much because there's such a huge stigma around money in our industry, that we
Yeah.
shouldn't ask for what we're worth, that we shouldn't make what we're worth, that we're not valuable. These teachings should be free. None of that is true. All of
Mhm.
that is BS, meaning belief system. And I've been working really hard to try to, get people through that. And unfortunately, this industry did not evolve to value the individual yoga teacher.
Yeah,
It just didn't, and there's nothing, like, we can't go back and change that, but what we can do is change the way we are working as yoga teachers now. And I think that you really have hit at the heart of that, at a way that we can not only band together and support each other, but that we can actually create the kind of financial well-being that we deserve for the valuable work that we do.
Mhm.
So tell me what you said you're lobbying for 3 things. What are these 3 things?
Yeah, so everything you just said is exactly what we've been going through. And I want to point out that you are a professional and we're full time. The other, I call her my third eye chakra, the woman who's helping me start Group Fitness Instructors United, Rachel. She said she would just love to hear what you're saying, because she very much feels like, people believe we're excited to get paid to work out, and she had to file for bankruptcy. She had all
Yeah.
of that too, anyway, it wasn't exactly that, but anyway, so those pain points are spot on.
Yeah.
And we're looking at anyone who teaches group fitness, whether or not they're full time.
So not
Because
even just yoga, anybody who teaches any kind of group
we're
fitness.
doing any group fitness. And so,
Wow, that's major.
yeah. And
Now, let me
adults,
ask you a
yeah.
question. Do
Mhm.
you think that there are different needs for yoga instructors specifically around this? Or do you think it is a pretty universal issue across group fitness that a union is needed to help us get the value that we deserve?
I definitely think people assume there's a lot more emotion put into yoga than other things, but I would argue that's relative to the individual and
Sure.
how they're, my Rachel and I were joking about someone the other day. We were joking that a ballet class was this person's Nia,
Oh,
and it was like
yeah.
Nia and ballet are polar opposites, but to her nervous system, those serve the same purposes, so.
Yeah.
And for the planning, we're advocating that each class is 3 hours long of
Yes.
planning, and I tend to find that that's true across my board.
Yeah,
And
between planning, commute, show up early, get your
exactly,
students' questions
talk to
answered, stay
people,
late, answer their questions, of course.
right? And there'll be no more cleaning of the studio.
Oh, no.
Sorry, there'll be no more cleaning of the studio as part
No.
of my thing. I was looking back at Malta. I got paid €5 extra to clean the studio,
At least
and I was
that.
like, "Thank you."
At least they
I
paid you for your work and time. I mean, at
know, right?
least that.
Because there's a studio here that pays you $35 a class and expects you to stay clean, membership sale, 30 minutes before, 30 minutes after. We could get
Absolutely.
into this, but because right now I know that there's, yoga instructors at Core Power there in New York who pulled out a lawsuit.
Yeah.
There's also Yoga Works in New York who are working with machinists to try to unionize Yoga Works. I want to look to the future, and I want to say this all happened, but it's not because of bad individuals, bad group X coordinators, or bad gyms. This is systemic.
Yeah, it is.
And as you
It is.
said, the industry has been allowed to grow without focusing on humans because it was considered a hobby. However, so is
Oh,
basketball.
girl, this ain't a hobby.
And
This is life.
young kids in the sticks can become famous basketball players.
Mm-hmm.
You see people who are immigrants, all shapes, all sizes, all colors, break free of their socioeconomic regulations, societal socioeconomic statuses, teaching group fitness.
Yeah,
You know,
you're right.
you see them get on the stage at Les Mills, Body Pump,
Yep.
and you see them as little stars in their local places. This
Yeah.
is not a hobby, and we want all people, because even those moms who teach one fun class a week, that contributes to their kids' lunch, and they have the right to health and safety standards. And when COVID hit and gyms were not closing, and those moms were going to the gym to teach, getting guilted and shamed if they didn't by their studio coordinator, and feeling the guilt of not serving their students, bringing it home and getting their kids sick. This is the kind of thing that can't happen. And it's
Right.
happened before COVID. I started the union before COVID. This COVID thing has been a really great opportunity to say, look, see,
Yeah,
you,
absolutely.
your job now.
Absolutely. And I want to talk more about that and what's happening right now with fitness instructors, but something you said really struck me. I mean, actually, first of all, everything you said really struck me, and slow clap
No,
for you. I mean,
it's
this is,
so hard because it's
I'm
just when you
so,
another fitness instructor and you're
yeah,
like, yeah, it just makes me want to cry when I hear you,
me
because
too.
it's
Me
been so
too.
years. This is the
I,
Wild West.
when I was doing full-time yoga teaching, racing all over, teaching at different studios, like many people do, right? I had to teach on the day of my grandfather's funeral.
Oh,
I had to
yeah.
teach on, I had this crazy situation where I had 2 car accidents inside of 24 hours. I had to
Mm,
teach that day that the car accidents happened, because if I didn't, Emily, I didn't get paid.
I
There
know.
is no paid time off for the yoga teacher. And because I was making so little and so terrified about making my rent and my bills anyway, that I would teach sick, I would teach in pain. I taught under severe stress and trauma, and I did it for years. I pushed myself
Mm,
to do it because, yes, I wasn't going to get paid, but I also have this responsibility to my students. I felt like they needed me to be there. I would receive guilt and shame for not being there. If you couldn't find a sub, you're responsible. You're going to get fired from that
yes.
place if you can't find a sub. Like, the circumstances are extreme. I don't know any other industry really where all of that is okay and that people tolerate it without question for
And
years.
you're paying this industry to employ you. Yes, and not only could we maybe we could move some of the things we just talked about to normal teachers who teach students.
Yeah.
Maybe we could put it there. They still have sick leave, paid time off, vacation, but the emotional side. And yet we are paying. One of the reasons I took your program was because Alana doesn't have to pass me, and Alana doesn't have to hire me.
Hmm.
Alana needs me to be a good teacher.
That's right.
So I will send other people to her program. And she's been doing it, so she knows. That's one of the reasons I took your program. These places, these franchise gyms, not only are they subjecting their teachers to that, but they're making them apprentice, intern, get their hours in, and pay thousands of dollars to get there.
You're absolutely
They're
right.
carnivores,
Yeah.
and we're killing our own people. And
Yeah.
again, it's because this is systemic.
Yeah.
That's been happening since the 80s, since the 70s. In Seattle, the wages have gone down
Oh,
the 80s.
that's painful because they
So
weren't high to begin with.
no. So we've touched on the 3 advocacy things. Number
Yeah.
1, a fair wage adjusted for inflation based on 3 hours per class.
Yeah.
Right now we're including transit in that, which is yay or nay, but hopefully an instructor can afford to drop some further away classes if they get paid well enough at the close ones.
Yeah.
That's number 1. Those are based for, so let me backtrack really fast. The big issue is how this is actually going to go down, because as you know, unions are typically for one employer, for those people that go to that employer, and they're geographically oriented.
Hmm.
The other thing is, like, Uber union just got created, but all those people contract with Uber. So it's
Right.
still the same, even though they're contractors. We're not gig. We're everything.
Yeah.
We are W-2, we're gig, we're cash payments, we're all of it.
We'll take money any way we can.
Anyway, and a lot of us have other jobs too.
Yeah. Right.
So we're not gig, we're more. We're modern. That's what I always joke. We're the most modern union. So anyway, 3 hours worth of time. And why I mentioned other unions is that we're trying to figure out how to find like a contract size. So if we're looking at, most gyms probably change their schedule twice or quarterly,
Yeah,
right? A
right.
lot of gyms change based on the season.
Yeah.
So one pain point that we've been having is that a Group X coordinator will just drop a class on a whim or pick up a class on a whim, often subjectively, decide to raise on a whim, drop, whatever.
Right.
So we want to create a standard for a minimum wage that's adjusted annually for inflation, and that ensures that wage is going to be paid at whatever gym they go for whatever time the contract is. So it looks a little bit like ballerinas and AGMA, where they have their show or their year, they're going to get paid the set wage. After that, everyone has the right to re-examine.
Oh, wow.
Something like that.
Boy, that would be a cool shift.
Yeah. And then special populations, if you're working with people who have a special need, you'll get paid more for that.
Yep.
And then the other reason for pay, I know all of you group fitness instructors are asking, is what if I have additional certificates? Great. Here's the thing. We need to look at certificates as a whole. So our next thing that we're going to do here in Washington State is create a statewide certificate for all group fitness instructors.
I love
If someone
this.
has a seizure in your class, what do you do? If someone has a herniated disc, like
Yeah.
everybody, what do you do?
This is so important, Emily. This is so important. And I know that many teachers and many studio owners resist the idea of regulation. I know they do, and I know all the reasons that they resist it. However, it keeps people safe. And I think about the massage industry that went through this same sort of growing pain, that really anybody could have been a massage therapist at one point in time, but you're placing your hands on a person's naked body and moving them therapeutically. There is a lot of room for slip-ups and a lot of room for injury. You can't do that. You have to have some sort of way to make sure that everyone who is a massage therapist has passed some kind of test and is held accountable for their actions. We don't have that in yoga. Anybody can be a yoga teacher. There is no basic requirement really for yoga training. I mean, Yoga Alliance only has standards. There's no requirement. There's no oversight.
Yoga Alliance. Everyone's like, is it Yoga Alliance? I'm like, I'm not Yoga Alliance certified.
No.
That's shit. I'm a lot of hate. But yeah, I'm so glad you held out. I think you might be Yoga Alliance now, but you held out for a while and I was down. Anyways,
Yeah.
keep going.
Yeah, so it's really important, not only for the safety of our instructors, but for the safety of our students, to have some sort of overall agreed upon regulation or standard, not just that we agree on, but that we uphold, and that if someone violates that in some way, that they are held accountable for it. Therapists have this, teachers have this, doctors have this, lawyers have this. This is a very common thing across many different industries. And given the fact that we often move people's bodies in extraordinary ways, sometimes we place our hands on them, and sometimes we also give them spiritual or emotional counseling, we need to be held accountable for that. We need to take responsibility, and this is the way to do it. I really am thrilled to hear you say this.
Thank you. I'm like, I'm sorry, I like goosebumps. Like, stop giving me goosebumps.
Stop giving me goosebumps.
I'm just like all over. So also in that certificate, so I know you, like me, like everyone else. Another thing was your program was affordable, and because I did your program, I could work through it. So I would learn your lesson and I'd go teach.
That's right.
And I know that most teachers don't go that way, but that's BS. Like, intern programs, apprentice programs, you learn as you go. And
as a therapist and mental health counselor, you do the same thing.
Yeah. So our certificate program, that'll be like the basics. Like, this isn't even necessarily, we'll do, we'll cover everything like public speaking, so to speak, to seizures. But the other thing is it will be paid for by the union or on a state scholarship program, because we need it. And as we've all seen from COVID, gyms are really important. People are trying to work out more than ever. And then if people want to certify in something niche, bar, vinyasa, we don't know what Les Mills is going to look like, but strength and conditioning, something like that, then there'll be 3 options for them. They can go pay to certify on their own before they have a gym to teach at, and that certificate will be limited and cost and duration. And if they want to go on to the whole, you need to work for a certain number of hours thing to practice, that will be paid.
Oh,
So
wow.
the whole system itself is going to have very clear regulations to them. The
Awesome.
second thing is, so you could go pay on your own and it will be affordable. If a gym says, I want you to teach bar, then the gym can pay for your bar certificate, which will still be affordable because we don't want to hurt, especially these mom and pop gyms.
Yeah.
Or your union, you can pay for it through your union. We will actively be hosting new certificate programs.
Well, I think the challenge that you run into there, specifically with the yoga industry, which is obviously what I'm most familiar with, is that many yoga studios survive by nature of their teacher training program.
Yeah, and that's a flawed effing model.
But it's the model. You take away their teacher training program or that revenue, and it's very likely that studio doesn't make enough other revenue just via classes. So that's definitely going to be a challenge.
And we've got to work on the way they talk about it too. I feel so bad for so many places. And it's not just yoga, it's like bar. You see this a lot in the bar studios now, where people go in and do their bar training or their yoga training, and or Pilates reformer. Oh, it's so bad. Oh, like I am reformer certified. I've done all the certs, not true, but quite a few. And that, that they're kind of like, again, it's this pipe dream that like, yes, you'll get paid to come work for us, and
Right.
you've got a shirt, you can
But they
get the
can't
shirt.
hire everybody. They just
And
can't.
no, and that's why we have to hustle too. It's because no
Yeah.
one can give me enough hours
Right.
to teach at. And, I also kind of don't want to. I mean, there's all sorts of worries about plateau
Mm-hmm.
and professionalism there, because our students don't realize we're professional. Setting boundaries with students can be really hard, and it's
Oh, for sure.
easier to hustle, and our own emotions involved. But so I love what you just said about the certificate system. I'd love to talk to you more about that and start to try. I don't
Of
want to
course.
sue anyone, and I don't want anyone to go down. I do really want some people to go down, but none of them are my little guys.
We
Some
want
of them.
all we yeah, I mean ideally those who we want integrity. We want integrity
Yeah,
in this industry. We want integrity from the bottom to the top of this industry. I think everybody deserves that, and that's hard to argue with when you're asking for integrity. So Emily, I want to shift not too far, but just a little
yeah,
bit, because we are living during extraordinary times,
yes.
and this COVID thing changes everything. It changes a
Mhm.
lot. So talk to me a little bit. You shared with me before we began this recording a little bit about how you've seen some of these changes happening. Share with me a little bit what you've seen and what's going
Yeah.
on.
Well, so first of all, welcome to my home studio.
Love
My
it, love
tax
it.
write-off for
Love all
home
the
office,
plans. Yep,
legitimate tax write-off. Check me, IRS.
fantastic. So good.
Use my weightlifting tools in the corner, 2 bottles of wine. But look, they're so good. They're so good. It's like
So innovative. I love
I,
it.
I'm using a vacuum. I swear I'm going to use a vacuum. I just don't know how yet, but I will.
It's gonna happen.
Yeah. So when COVID hit, what was really cool is it gave me this great impetus to like offer true help to group fitness instructors. And so with my union, which I'm still working through, we're still working through a lot. It's going to be like 2-3 years of activity. I developed this COVID help sheet that was directly for group fitness instructors, because
Mm-hmm.
every one of these new regulations didn't fit me. I don't work enough hours in any one place. Maybe I get sick leave at 2 places I work for, but it was so few, it was gone in a half of a week,
Right.
you know? In the other places, I don't get anything. So all of a sudden, as group fitness instructors, I think we're like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
I'm
Our
doing a job,
livelihood is gone.
wait a minute. And not even that, like, our goldfish, like the ability to give my kids goldfish is gone. Like the crackers, that's how I equated it. One woman's income. I was like, well, that's those huge Costco goldfish crackers. And she was like, oh yeah, but my point is, we earned the gym money. We need benefits, period. Anyway, so I developed this COVID help sheet, and I sent it out to 600 group fitness instructors who I personally have touched somehow with one of my gyms I teach at or whatever. And they started writing me back. And they've been saying, at first I was so freaked out. And
Yeah.
and they've been saying crazy things to me that I experienced. My left obturatus internus, I think is the word. It's the tiny little stabilizer muscle,
Yep.
and my root chakra was
Yep.
like freaked out. I'm still injured from that. That happened the day COVID restrictions went down. Had a lot of group fitness instructors tell me my left this, my left that. It's like,
Well, I mean, as a yoga teacher, we're not surprised. These are the somatic symptoms of psychological distress.
exactly. So we were all distressed and just so freaked out about the fact that gyms, we kept saying, we don't know when they'll ever open again. And
No.
if they will they ever be the same? So slowly people started writing to me and saying, I was checking in on them, and they were like, well, I started teaching online classes and making a studio, and I'm actually really enjoying it. I've learned these new skills about online stuff, and my neck doesn't hurt so bad anymore. And then third week, which in Seattle time was last week, they start saying, I've really kind of calmed down a bit, and I can't imagine going back. Now that I've had some
Yeah.
time to breathe, I realize I was working 10 to 12-hour days. I
Yeah.
was killing myself for these
Yeah.
jobs. I wasn't making any money. And now I'm getting paid directly by my clients.
Yep.
I'm saving money and the transition and stuff. My planning is better. And my clients are actually paying me more than my classes ever paid me. And they're paying me directly. And a lot of it's on donation, asking for donations.
That's right.
And I have personally experienced the same thing. And so this week, I guess, even I'm most afraid now this week about gyms reopening and having to go back to that lifestyle and feeling again like the rat in the cage, no options, but it's only, in the other, like, at least I'm aware of it now.
Well,
And
my
I'm,
wish for you, Emily, and my wish for all yoga teachers is that you don't go back to that lifestyle. And I've been talking about this for years. I launched my Upward Facing Business Academy 3 years ago to tell yoga teachers that you don't have to do this rat race. You don't have to make these other bigger companies money. You are getting a fraction of what comes in the door. And really, in order to, because the industry is so systemically effed,
yes,
you have to take matters into your own hands a bit. This was the greatest gift I received when I moved all my business online in 2015. That
mm,
suddenly I had passive income that came whether I was sick or well. I had an ability to actually take a vacation if I needed to. And 100% of what I was charging people was coming directly to me. I didn't have to give a huge percentage to a studio, to anybody else. It's a way to elevate your expertise. It's a way to work more directly and personally with people, to transform them in the way that's most important to you. I can't tell you how many yoga studios I worked at that asked me to not chant or say om.
I
Now,
know.
that's not who I am. That's not who
Yeah,
I am, but I had to fit myself as a square peg into that round hole in order to teach there, in order to make money. And now I simply get to teach what I love. And when we all know that when we do what we love, that is the key to success. And I mean,
yeah,
I have literally been saying this for years, but now that message in my mind has never become more important than this moment, where in order to work, we have to do it online. We have to reach people where they're at, because they are at home, they are suffering. There are real effects of social distancing and sheltering in place. And those real effects include anxiety, depression, loneliness, apathy, boredom, all things that yoga itself is primarily oriented to
yeah.
alleviate. We
Hmm.
are on the front lines of the spiritual and emotional crisis that is happening now. Our people need us. We have to be there for them. And the only way to do it is online. So I feel like it's just been this amazing call to
Yeah,
yoga teachers to figure that out, to go online and to see for themselves how much more you can be valued because of that. So I'm
exactly.
thrilled to hear that you've got people who are saying to you, wow, this is actually really great. I feel more relaxed. I am able to make more money. It's beautiful. And I hope
Yeah.
that they continue that.
I hope so too. And I know already I'll continue, live streaming on my own. And I've been asked by gyms to live stream. The third, thing that we're advocating for is sick leave, vacation time, maternity leave, paid
Awesome.
time off, healthcare, and all of this as well is going to be paid for out of the union. So we're not going to ask
Wow.
those studios to pay for it. And my big dream is that if we can get our industry into an actual healthy space that's not volatile, that's fair and equal, where there can be different players, but also I don't know, some people are going to get lost because of this. And in Seattle, there's literally gyms going in next to gyms right now on the street, and especially in Amazonville with the new, franchise model.
Hmm.
Some of those might get lost. That's okay with me, because if we can create this outward facing industry that has these things to offer and benefit people, but then we can create this inward facing industry that we know now. We know it now. We know the value of my home studio so much. Like I'm having students who would come to my classes at the downtown Y, literally wearing like practically burqas, like covered up, just not confident in their body. And I'm
Yeah.
doing online classes with them, and they're showing up in booty shorts and sports bras. And I'm like, yes, yes, we are never going back in public ever. So if we can do this right, us instructors will be able to pick and choose the best for us and for our students from this beautiful portfolio of options that almost every other industry has.
Mhm.
We can be professionals out there and get what we need from this industry. And then we can be professionals in here and give and get what we need from our own cottage industry. That's the modern economy,
Wow,
and
that's
we have
great.
to support that.
Your
So
vision and your inspiration, your vision and your passion are truly inspirational. And
I
I
hope
hope that,
it works.
oh, girl, I hope it does too. And, I've been a big fan of yours for many years as well. And I can't wait to see how you develop this. I'm on board to help you in any way I can. And I hope that whoever listens to this broadcast recognizes what a need you are serving and understands how beneficial this will be for all involved. So thank you for your hard work, Emily. It's really important what you're doing, and I honor you for it.
Well, thank you so much. Oh, I want to cry. Thank you so much for starting me on my journey and for giving me what I need to know to be an amazing instructor. I really get told all the time that my best classes that I teach are yoga classes. And
Aw,
they're not Alana's classes, they're Emily's classes. But if
awesome.
I hadn't learned from you what I needed to learn, it never would have, and we're going to base our
Mm,
model on what I did with you, for sure.
wonderful. I love that, Emily. Thank you so much for this chat today. Keep it up, and I'd love to hear more about how this goes. So we'll make sure we keep you in the loop on the Torchbearer scene. All right, girl?
Okay. Okay.
Thank you.
Yay.
Namaste to you.
Bye.